Many people feel lost their entire lives, and they never figure out why. The truth is that most people never realize this simple fact. You're already found. You're just looking in the wrong direction. And today, we will dive into exactly why you feel lost, what's keeping you stuck, and what you can do about it. To start, let me paint a picture you might recognize. You wake up. Before your feet even hit the floor, you're already on your phone, scrolling, watching people who seem to have it figured out. They have purpose, direction, clarity, that thing you can't quite name. And you're just here, floating through days that blur together. You want to change. You really want to change. You can feel something deeper inside you calling for more, but you don't know where to start, what to pursue, who you even are anymore. You feel lost. Not the I don't know which career path lost, the deeper kind, the I don't know who I am or what I want lost. And it's not just you feeling this. The world itself has changed. And when you look around, finding real connection feels impossible. Everyone's exhausted, burned out, going through their own crisis. People wear masks. You can't tell who's genuine and who's performing. Dating feels like a game where nobody knows the rules. Real friendship feels like a distant memory from a simpler time. And deep down, you're asking yourself, is this it? Is this what life actually is? It's the despair we all feel, but no one talks about. But here's what you need to understand. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are not alone. You've simply forgotten who you are. And this is the reality for millions of people right now. But not because you're doing something wrong, because you've been living according to programming you never chose. We were never meant to live this way, disconnected from ourselves, chasing goals we don't actually want, living for screens instead of experiences, performing instead of being. From the moment you were born, expectations started stacking. From parents, teachers, social media, until your life became a collage of other people's dreams. And now you're standing in the middle of a life that doesn't fit. That's why you feel lost. But here's what nobody tells you. Feeling lost isn't the problem. It's the wake-up call. Your internal compass is screaming. You're off course. Time to recalibrate. The people who never feel lost, they're still sleepwalking. You're waking up. And that's uncomfortable. But it's also your only way out. But here's the question most people never ask. Why do we feel lost in the first place? What creates this feeling that something's missing, even when our lives look fine on paper? The answer is simpler than you think, and it starts with something that's been happening since the day you were born. You've outsourced your sense of self. From the moment you were born, you were taught that your value comes from outside. Good grades means that you're smart. Promotions means that you're successful. Likes on social media means that you're interesting. Being in a relationship means that you're lovable. Your entire self-worth became dependent on external validation. But the problem with external validation is that it's never enough, and it never lasts. You achieve the goal, get the promotion, buy the house, and for a moment you feel something. Relief? Pride? But soon, that feeling evaporates, and you're back to empty, back to searching. This is called the validation trap, and it's why successful people still feel lost. Because success didn't come with the internal shift they expected. They thought, when I achieve X, I'll finally feel worthy. But achievement doesn't create worth. It just reveals that worth was never the problem. The problem is that you're looking for yourself in achievements, relationships, status. But you're not in any of those places. Because you can't find yourself outside yourself. Think about it. How many times have you thought, I'll be happy when I get the job, I find the relationship, I make X amount of money, I look a certain way? And how many times have you gotten there and realized it didn't fix the feeling? That's because the feeling isn't about circumstances. It's about the fact that you don't have an internal sense of self. You're like a house with no foundation, constantly shifting based on what's happening around you. Other people's opinions become your reality. External circumstances dictate your worth. You need constant proof that you matter. And that is exhausting. It's unsustainable. And it's a big reason why you feel lost. Because you can't find stable ground because you keep looking for it outside yourself. And for years, you've mistaken that hollow feeling for failure, when it was really just yourself trying to be heard. So if you can't find yourself through achievement, validation, or external circumstances, then what's actually stopping you from changing? The truth is hidden in your mind. Your mind has a defense system, and its main job is to protect your identity. Not your body, not your goals, but your sense of who you are. Because to your brain, losing your identity is more terrifying than losing your life. Let me explain how this works. Your identity is made from beliefs about yourself. You subconsciously tell yourself, I'm this kind of person, or I'm not this kind of person. The beliefs about yourself could be completely false, out of tune with reality. But internally, they create your comfort zone. It's your predictable world. Because your brain loves predictability. Predictable means safe. Unknown means dangerous. So when you try to change, when you try to step outside the script you're in, your brain panics. It throws every defense mechanism at you. It tries to rationalize, saying things like, actually, my life is fine. I'm just being ungrateful. You self-sabotage. You get close to change, then blow it up. You distract yourself. Suddenly you're scrolling for 3 hours instead of taking action. Fearful thoughts pop up. What if I try and I fail? What if people judge me? All of these are your identity defending itself. But here's the twisted part. Your identity isn't even yours. It's the years of accumulated programming. So your brain defends beliefs you never consciously chose, to protect a version of you that isn't real. You're living in a mental prison. But the paradox is that you are also the guard who can set yourself free. This is why just be yourself is generally bad advice. Most people don't know who they are, only know they were programmed to be. And trying to be yourself while that programming is running feels impossible. It's like trying to run new software on a computer that keeps defaulting to the old operating system. The old system has to be uninstalled first. And here's what most people get wrong. They think finding themselves means adding more. More goals, more experiences, more achievements. But it's actually the opposite. Finding yourself is about subtraction. There are 3 phases to this process: deconstruction, exploration, and integration. Let's break each one down. Deconstruction is where you identify what's not yours, because you're not building a new self. You're removing the false self. Here's how you do it. Take every major belief you have and ask where it comes from. As an example, if you tell yourself, "I should be married by 30, reflect on why you say that. Who told you that? Why do you believe it? Or if you tell yourself, "I'm not creative enough," think about where that comes from. Why are you saying that? Do this process for all your major beliefs. If the answer is my parents, society, or I don't know, that belief is suspect. It might be true for you, but you inherited it. You didn't choose it. After you've gone over your beliefs, take a look at your life right now and ask yourself this question: what do I resent? Not what you're grateful for, what you resent. The things that fills your life with negative energy. Is it the job you drag yourself to? The obligations you fulfill but hate? The version of yourself you perform for others? Resentment is valuable information. It's your authentic self saying, "This isn't me." Most people ignore resentment. They think it means they're ungrateful. But resentment shows you where you're living out of alignment. And once you see the parts that doesn't align with your true self, you can start to replace them with things that truly matter. And this leads us to the next point. You have to face your fear of judgment. The fear that you're not good enough. The fear that you're too much or too little. Think about this sentence. If no one would judge me, I would. And think about how you would finish that sentence. Think deeply about what would you do if no one would judge you. The answer to that will point you toward your authentic self. The things you want but won't admit. The choices you'd make but are too scared. The version of you that exists under the programming. This deconstruction phase can be very uncomfortable because you're dismantling beliefs that have been holding your whole identity together. But you can't build something real on a foundation of lies. So you need to have radical honesty with yourself to become yourself. Now you've cleared out what's not yours. But here's where most people get stuck. They don't know what to do next. They've removed the false self. But how do you discover the real one? That's what exploration is about. Once you've removed what's not yours, you need to discover what is yours. And you can't think your way to this. You have to act your way there. Here is an experiment you can try. It's called Follow Your Energy and goes like this. For 1 week, track your energy after every activity. After work, do you feel drained or energized? After seeing certain people, do you feel lifted or depleted? After hobbies, do you feel time flying or dragging? Your authentic self is in the energy. The things that energize you, even if they're impractical, those are pointing toward who you actually are. For example, you might notice that being creative late at night makes you feel alive, while scrolling numbs you. That's your compass. Another experiment you can try is to do small acts of authenticity. You don't need to blow up your life. Just take one small action your real self would take. Say no to something you'd usually say yes to. Express an opinion you normally hide. Spend time on something pointless you enjoy. Wear what you actually want to wear. Each small act builds evidence. It shows you, this is what being myself feels like. And over time, these small acts compound into a real shift. Next, get quiet with yourself. You can't hear yourself when you're surrounded by noise. Spend 10 minutes a day in complete silence. No phone, no music, no podcast, just silence. At first, it'll be unbearable. That's normal. But over time, a quieter voice emerges. That's you, the real you, under all the programming. Most people avoid silence because they're afraid of what they'll hear. But that quiet voice, it's been trying to reach you for years. The last phase in this self-journey is integration. This is where you start living as your authentic self. Not perfectly, not all at once, but progressively. Integration means making choices aligned with your values, not inherited ones. Setting boundaries based on your needs, not others' expectations. Building a life that reflects your energy, not someone else's success. Because this is the truth you need to understand. You don't find yourself once. You find yourself continuously. You're not static. You're evolving. The you at 25 is different from the you at 35. Finding yourself isn't a destination. It's a practice. It's the daily question. Am I moving toward myself or away from myself? That's it. That's the practice. Not what should I do with my life, but who am I becoming? And do I like that person? That question you can answer today, and tomorrow, and every day after. Now, all of this will take time. It requires you to constantly show up for yourself going forward. But remember this, the present moment is all you have. Because this is everything you have. This moment. Tomorrow will come, but you can't live in tomorrow. You can only live in today. So instead of thinking about the future, let's ask, what can you do today? Or even right now? So, if you feel lost right now, here are 3 simple steps you can try today. Step 1. A 10-minute honest conversation. Set a timer and grab something to write on. Your journal, your phone, your computer. It doesn't matter. The important thing is to get the thoughts out of your mind and reflect. Then, answer these questions. 1. If I'm brutally honest, what do I actually want that I'm too scared to admit? 2. What am I doing right now that doesn't feel like me? 3. If I could change one thing about my life tomorrow, what would it be? 4. What am I pretending not to know? Don't overthink. Write what comes to mind. There are no right or wrong answers. Step 2. One small act of authenticity. Pick one small action your real self would take. Say no to something you don't want to do. Spend 20 minutes on something you're curious about. Have the honest conversation you've been avoiding. Delete the apps that makes you feel bad. Wear what you actually want to wear. It's not important what you chose, just that you do one small act today. And the last step, step number 3, is to have a daily check-in with yourself. Every day for the next week, ask yourself, did I move closer to myself today or further away? That's it. Just notice. No judgment. Just awareness. Because finding yourself begins with paying attention to yourself, and most people never do that. Now, these 3 steps won't transform your life overnight, but they start the process, and the process is everything. If you do these 3 things, even imperfectly, you're already moving in the right direction. You're choosing yourself, and that choice compounds over time. So if you take nothing else from this video, remember this. Feeling lost isn't a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a sign that you've been living out of alignment with who you actually are. And think about this. The people who never feel lost, they're the ones who never wake up. They sleepwalk through life, following the script, never questioning. You feeling lost means you're waking up, you're questioning, you're searching, you're ready for something real. And finding yourself isn't about adding more goals or achievements. It's about removing the layers of programming, covering up who you've always been. You're not creating yourself, you're revealing yourself. And you can start that process today. Ask yourself the honest questions. Get quiet enough to hear the answers. Take small steps toward authenticity. Follow your energy, not other people's expectations. And trust the process. You won't find yourself overnight, but if you start today, a year from now, you'll look back and barely recognize the person you were. That's not finding yourself. That's becoming yourself. And that's the whole point. If this video helped you see your situation differently, subscribe. Because here at Tomorrow in Mind, we help you wake up to yourself and to the life you were meant to live. To commit to your journey, leave a comment with one belief you're ready to challenge. Let this be the first action you do today to commit to becoming your authentic self and breaking free from your programming. And we'll see you in the next one.